Alright, so I wanted to get on here and give you guys a quick input of the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. fight. How I felt about it, how I'm sure a lot of people felt about it. First things first, I cannot believe the outcome of the fight. A draw? I mean, look at these guys' faces. None of them are happy. They both cannot believe the outcome. I mean, Mike Tyson's like, what just happened? And Roy Jones Jr. is completely exhausted, for one. And he's just like, oh my God, come on. I mean, look at Mike Tyson's face. He cannot believe it. He's like, I know I won that fight. I mean, I know I won it. We all know it. A draw of all things. I mean, I estimated a unanimous decision, and that's what I always put my word on. Everybody was asking, "Oh, what do you think it's gonna be? What do you think it's gonna be?" I think Mike Tyson's gonna knock him out. I think Roy Jones Jr. is gonna maybe knock him down, but might win a unanimous decision. That's what everybody was saying. But 90% of the people that I spoke to, they all said Mike Tyson knockout second round or fourth round, or Mike Tyson a couple knockdowns and wins the fight in unanimous decision. My always my first initial thought was unanimous decision. And I didn't know who was going to win, but I was going for Roy Jones Jr. just because, to me, I thought he was a quicker, more experienced, faster fighter. Which you can see right here, when he lands a combo punch, he's fast. But power always goes to Mike Tyson. Power, strength, ability to hit and land. And every time he throws a punch, he pretty much lands. And that's why I figured it was going to be a unanimous decision. I didn't think either one of them were going to knock each other out, by no means at all, because, I mean, the two 50-year-old men, do they have the strength and power to do so? Of course, no doubt about it. I don't doubt it at all. Just because of age, they didn't knock each other out. But I do think because of respect for each other, I didn't think they were going to go for a knockout. I mean, they both did say after the fight, I remember Roy Jones Jr. saying every single hit that he took from Mike Tyson, he felt it, it hurt, and he didn't say there were not hard hits at all. But Mike Tyson said, I put on a show for everybody. I'm happy with the draw, and I wasn't here, basically he wasn't there to kill anybody. Back in his day, of course, he was known for the most brutal fighter of all time. But he obviously wasn't there to kill or with killer instincts. He said, I come into a fight to always fight and always be prepared for whatever is going to happen. And I'm hungry. And yes, I had some thoughts. He said before the fight he had thoughts of bad intentions, but not really. I don't think this fight was really to knock somebody out with horrible intentions and put him down and put him to the ground. That's not what I think Mike Tyson wanted to do. Neither did Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. was not happy at all with a draw. I mean, look at the guy's excitement. He made that very clear at the end of the fight. He was like, yeah, no. I'm not here. I don't fight a fight to get a draw. I fight a fight to finish a fight, and or either to be finished or to finish a fight. I don't come to a fight to not see who won the fight. Because for me, I come in and I want to finish it or be finished. It's one way or the other. I mean, we don't end in a tie. That's basically what Roy Jones Jr. said. He was not happy with it, and you could tell very clear. Mike Tyson said, I'm happy with whatever the judges scored. I'm happy with, because I put on a show for the fans. The fans loved what they saw, and I'm happy that the fans are happy. And whatever the judges' scorecard said, whatever. But I'm happy that I was able to be here, do this again at my age, and fight. That's what Mike Tyson was all about. They asked him, "You're going to do this again?" He said, "Oh, of course I'm going to do it again. I want to do it again." And Roy Jones Jr. was kind of skeptical about it. He was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this again. I'm going to talk to my family about it. But to me, my initial reaction was, wow. Two grown men that retired from boxing came back. And I mean, Roy Jones Jr. just stopped fighting in 2018. It was only a couple years ago. And Mike Tyson hasn't fought in 15 plus years. And he fought phenomenal fighter. His blows, every punch, he did miss. He did land a lot also, though. Mike Tyson landed and he missed. Roy Jones Jr. bobbed and weaved, and I mean, he's fast. But I don't think Roy Jones Jr. hit as much as Mike Tyson. I don't think he had the ability to. And Mike Tyson was hungry. He was very hungry. He took each blow and barely made a reaction to every blow that Roy Jones Jr. gave him. Every single punch Roy Jones Jr. gave him, he took it. They usually landed up on the top of his head or around the temple area, some right in the center of the face. But Mike Tyson was hitting Roy Jones Jr. back a completely different way. He wasn't aiming. Body shots all day long. Ruthless body shots. As much for the head. He might have hit him a couple times with a few jabs on the head, but mainly he was just body shots all day long. Body shots. He knew if he was going to slow him down, tire him out, and weaken Roy Jones Jr., he knew it was through his body. And it was a crazy fight. It was an awesome fight to see. I've never seen Mike Tyson fight in my life. Obviously, I'm, young, but I bought the fight because I was like, I cannot miss two legends fighting. And I've always admired them. I've always watched their videos. I've always followed their journeys and read up on them and read about their careers, about their fighting style, everything. And it was amazing. I couldn't miss it. I had to buy the fight. And if you didn't see it, I encourage you to watch some highlights because it was one for the books. It was a crazy fight. But a draw, I wasn't happy with the draw. Like Roy Jones Jr. says, he's there to fight. They're both there to fight. Someone needs to finish that fight. I'm never a big fan of sports, any kind of sports, basketball, football, soccer, baseball, anything. I'm never a fan of any sport ending in a draw or a tie. I'm not a fan of it at all. Not a fan. I would like to see somebody finish it. I don't care how long it has to go. I want somebody to finish that fight. And that's just my initial reaction. I would love to see them come back and fight again. I would honestly, Roy Jones Jr. was skeptical. Like he said, he was like, I don't know about it. I have to talk to my family. But I would love to see Mike Tyson go up against maybe somebody a little bit younger. Or maybe he could get somebody from his time to come back and fight again. But he was all for it. I would love to see Mike Tyson fight again because he was a phenomenal fighter. And I can't believe he did what he did at 50 plus years old. I can't believe it. I was happy for him. He looked hungry, but he looked humble. And that was my favorite part to see. I didn't want to see a crazy, like, out of whack Mike Tyson that was there to kill. I didn't want to see that because I think that was his younger version of himself. I wanted to see a new Mike Tyson, and that's what we saw. And I was so happy to see that. I was very happy to see him being humble, strong, hungry, but I was very happy to see him fight the way he did. Powerful, man. Very, very powerful, that man. And Roy Jones Jr., I expected to see him, a little bit faster. As you can clearly see in this picture, he's missing a punch that he should have made, and he looks tired. And a little bit more hungry, but I think, obviously, he was skeptical about being hit, and he was afraid of being hit too much. And he did what he had to do to stay standing, because some of those blows hit him good. And but that's my opinion and my reaction about the fight. And no fight should end in a draw. Come on. Thanks for watching, guys. More videos to come, and take a look at the highlights from that fight. It was amazing. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.